hike, hike, baby.
Ooh, it's a fork.
Well, the map says to go left, but that little musket trail seems plumb adorable.
And it has a waterfall, so I say, waterfall. I mean, let's just do it. Let's go nuts.
This is why we're so great together. We agree on everything.
I agree. Hey, Robert Frost, looks like we're gonna take the road Jess traveled.
Tune up, level up your fun. Tune up, your quest has now begun. Tune up, we'll show you how it's done. Tune up, tune up, tune up, tune up, tune up.
Well, welcome back to the Tabletop Tune-Up. My name is Ben Dyer. I'm here with my co-host Mark Lehman, who has delivered for us an intro that I feel like is this New Girl plus Dropkick Murphys is the kind of the vibe we're going for now?
Something like that. But we're talking about maps today, so it felt appropriate, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. You guys, we're not just talking about maps. We're going to talk about maps with an expert today. Today we have on Duncan Rhodes. He is the author of the Creative Gamemaster's Guide to Extraordinary Locations and How to Design Them. He is a blogger. He is a travel writer. He has some great stuff on the DM's Guild, some adventures and things like that, and we want to talk about all of it. But Duncan, welcome to Tabletop Tune-Up.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on today. Great honor to be behind some of the best jingles in the podcast game. But I was a bit disappointed not to get any Austin Powers today.
No. Well, we did some a few weeks ago, so maybe go back and check those out. Those are always fun. So let's get into it, because you got a lot of expertise on mapping, and you just put out a book on it, and we'll get into all that. But I want to talk real quick about your blog. Your blog covers like a wider range of topics. Like there's all sorts of stuff you discuss on there. But what made you want to do and focus in with your book on maps? What was it about maps?
Yeah, well, I was approached by a publisher. Actually, they came to me. I think they found me through my blog. So I wasn't totally wasting my time these last 10 years.
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes it feels like that when you're just creating content, right?
I hear you.
But so they found me and they were like, hey, we want to do a D&D book. We want to do something for players. And I was like, do you realize players don't really buy books? You need to make it for DMs or GMs. And so we got into a whole conversation, and I saw that I should really take the lead. They obviously identified like a growing market, but they hadn't really identified what a good topic could be, what might sell well, what might be attractive. And I went through a few different ideas in my mind, but ultimately I think I settled on what I think is a theme that is perhaps the most useful tools you can give a games master.
Yeah, I would agree with you on a big part of that. Ben, I was thinking about I think a map is like the most core basic intro to D&D that I think I might have had. I think I looked at a map and I was inspired by it. There's something about a map that's kind of like, it gets the brain. There's a reason why Tolkien had a great map at the front of his book.
Yeah.
They're very, they draw you in. I think they're very attractive. There's a beauty to a good map. But I mean, ultimately, Dungeons and Dragons is typically it's a location-based game, isn't it? I mean, you go somewhere, you explore that location, you interact with that location, and the adventure is held within that location. So it is. Yeah.
And maps have this quality to them where this is kind of like a high point in the action of your game, or in the events of your game usually, right? Like, if in a normal game session you're talking about how we're going to go from here to there, and we explore this and we cross that river and we climb that cliff or whatever, right? But like the point where the GM brings out a map, something's about to happen, right?
Right,
the suspense comes up. And I love that maps give us this really great kind of imaginative hold on that moment, on that scene. And so I think that's really, I think it's really well chosen as a topic. So tell us a little bit more about this book, about how you kind of brought it together. What kind of, when you're thinking about the scope of the book and you're talking to the publisher, what did you tell them in terms of like your wish list here? How did you kind of pitch this idea?
I think I wanted it to be something that I was going to enjoy writing, and actually going back to that kind of decision process, what would be the topic of the book? I did originally think adventures, because I love writing adventures, and adventures typically contain a map anyway. But I think when you present an adventure to a GM, you're already restricting them. You're already like setting up kind of a linear storyline. You are making it level dependent, because there's a threat, that there's an expectation that whatever's in that adventure is something the party can handle in combat. So ultimately you're locking people out of the resource that you've created for them. So I think with these locations, I think one of the joy of them is they are adventures, but they're kind of like, choose your own adventure,
Yeah.
Here's a casino. Are you going there
Right.
to heist it? Are you going there to kill the pirate that runs it? Are you going there just to gamble?
Right. To have the social encounter where you meet the villain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If there's a casino, I definitely want to heist.
Exactly. Right.
That's great.
Right.
Well, and so in your book, you have, I'm just looking at the table of contents here. You've got city locations, you've got rural locations, island and coast locations, forests, wetlands, jungles, mountains, Arctic, desert. You've got so much stuff here for people to draw on. So listeners out there, check this out. And there's a lot of really great stuff that you can then take and start spinning into your own stuff. Let's talk about maps in general for a moment. And this probably has to do a little bit with how you probably wanted to put the maps together in this book, but also I think probably like a lot of us, I know I'm certainly this way. When I'm getting set up with an adventure, I'll probably start checking out the internet. I'll be looking at Patreons. I'll be looking for maps, right? So there's a lot of people out there who are going to go looking for maps. And I feel like I've seen a real evolution in the quality of maps over time. But even today, right? Some maps I think are probably not good or as useful. Some maps are probably really good. Help me be a discerning shopper here, right? Like if I'm going to go look for a map for my games, what kinds of things make a really great map to you?
Well, the first thing is attractiveness. I mean, it has to look cool, because you're the GM. You need to be inspired to like run this location. So yeah, I think one mistake a lot of amateur GMs make, or maybe amateur's the wrong word, but just maybe non-visually creative GMs make, is it's very easy to design just blockish locations in squares, because we play the game on a grid, and it's just easy to fit things together. It's easier to place doors. But if you want to design a great map, or if you're looking out for like a cool map, you're probably more likely to be pulled in by something that's, not just a rectangle or a square. It's got cool towers, or maybe it's built into a hillside, so that changes the way the building shape, or it has half layers, like mezzanine layers or little bridges or crossings. What I love personally about maps is if there's like some places you can fall down, into a potential hazard, or where you can get a higher ground advantage if a fight breaks out. I think as well, if you're talking from a practical point of view, you don't want it to be too dark sometimes. We made a conscious effort to go with pastel floors. I designed the layout of all the maps, but a superb cartographer called Arturo, his handle is Nerdy Maps. He actually rendered the maps, and we decided we're going for pastel floors mostly, so that you can, if you put a counter on them in a VTT, you can actually see where your counter is. It's not too busy with like high contrast details.
That's a really interesting note just to park on just for a second. Is I've seen maps that can be so busy that you don't notice the monsters that are there until the GM brings them out, and you're like, wait, what? And it's not like they were supposed to be hidden. It was just like you just didn't see them.
Yeah, I thought that was like a candelabra.
Right.
You can go over the top, especially with a battle map, I think. And talking about battle maps, if you're a GM and you're looking for a map for your session, check the scale, because I see so many like forest path maps where the forest path is about 50 feet long. I'm like,
not helpful.
What happens if any of the characters want to move, or use a longbow? There's
if I had a complaint about the current state of online map making, I think you just touched on it. They tend to be too small, and I'm always looking for map makers who make a big space so the players can like explore that space and be creative within it. And yeah, you're right. A 50-foot long trail gives the players nothing to work with.
I think a lot of cartographers are not necessarily DMs. And so they make these beautiful works of art, but they're not making them big enough for practical use in many cases. I did say to the publisher that in our book, I want every map to be a full page map. And almost create not just a location, but like an adventure zone. There's a path leading up to the church, but that path goes over a cliff, and there's a beacon tower that you could maybe climb up and get a vantage point, or maybe there's some treasure there. Maybe there's another threat. Maps as well should reward exploration. And make it easy for the DM to run exploration, because if we're creating a location in our heads, it's hard to create all those details, but a good map can give you those. You might know that the crux of the adventure is in this tower, but the fact that you've got a crumbling tower somewhere else or a little statue, it's just something the players can go and press a button there, fiddle around, try and interact with it.
That's one of the things I really noticed in the book you've got coming out here, Duncan, is that you got this really kind of an interactive nature with the map that you don't see from a lot of people when they discuss the maps. When you're looking at these maps, I can tell that you've thought about these are places GMs can use for their games. Like they could put a DC check here, they could put a history over here. They could have like you say, a falling damage area over here.
Yes.
There's a lot of you've put a lot of thought into that, and that doesn't seem like that's intentional. I can tell just from talking to you.
Absolutely. I don't think a statue should ever just be decorative in Dungeons and Dragons, and that doesn't mean that it should come alive, because that's a cliche that's very fun, but it can be overdone. But if it's a statue of a god, gods exist in D&D. I mean, whether they exist in the real world or not is up to your personal point of view, but gods exist in the world of Dungeons and Dragons and other fantasy realms, and they grant powers that people can see and experience. So if you see a statue of a god, you can pray to that statue, maybe. You can ask for a blessing. You have to pass I normally throw in I like my crossover checks. I normally go for a charisma-based religion.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And I also like on that point too, is like even on the most basic level, you could give like a statue a little bit of lore, which you could, and now you could, that's feeding into the story of your game.
Yes.
How cool is that?
Yes, I'm not sure I've done that enough now that you mention it, but that is a great tip. Yeah, because you roll religion. Okay, the charisma-based religion check is to get a boon directly from the god, but the intelligence-based religion check is to know something that might help you somewhere else in that location.
Yeah,
that's great.
This is the picture of the emperor before his fall. Oh, look, he's got that characteristic on his, lapel or whatever, right? Like I didn't know he was associated with that that Cult of the Lotus or something like that. You know, who knows?
Exactly. And now we're really bringing the exploration pillar to life. Right? It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not just
And you're bringing the game to life too.
Yeah.
So, any shout outs to any particular map makers real quick, that you really enjoy, like that you just like, this map maker's got it down?
Well, I mean, the kings are Che and Peku, I think. For I was tempted to approach them about the book. I was like, aren't they making about $60,000
Oh my God,
a month?
Yeah.
They don't need your money, Duncan.
But yeah, they're a good point for reference, especially in terms of the beauty of their maps. You know,
They are beautiful, and they do get you kind of inspired when you're looking at them. The animated ones, have you ever seen those? Are just, I mean, they're just amazing.
Yeah, I've got a dream of getting one of those flat screen. I need a room big enough. I need a games room. I don't have a dedicated games room. And then that flat screen TV is the map where you project the map and you can have the animated effects. That's a life goal.
Life goal.
Yeah.
There you go. Love it.
I think there are some cheap flat screen TVs. I don't think it has to be super big because, of course, if you're on a VTT, you can move the screen around. So I think I picked up one for less than $100 that was like a 32-inch, and it had a nice flat back to it. So, you know, the bar for that might not be as high as you think. You know,
Ben's living my dreams already. So this guy.
Yeah, I think what's stopping me is the space to put the table more than the TV.
Fair enough. We got these big American homes over here.
So yeah. You guys all have like a basement, right?
Pretty much.
I do have a basement.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of really great maps over the history of the game. You know, you think about places like Undermountain. I remember the first time I ever saw the maps for that. I was just like, man, this is like, I don't know, like 20 different levels of maps, and there's all this stuff going on. I think one of the first products I ever bought that blew me away, and we're going to set the Wayback Machine just for a moment, you guys, to the 1990s. There was a thing called the Forgotten Realms Interactive Atlas, and this was this is amazing. If you think the maps of the Sword Coast are kind of amazing now, this is a product that basically was a map company. This is the campaign cartographer guys at Pro Fantasy. They created this thing where they mapped the entire world of Toril through all of the different, you know, supplements and things that were out at the time, which in the second edition of the game, they had more stuff than they've had in any edition since. And so what was cool was it was all hyperlinked. So you could like start clicking around and essentially zoom in. It was like having Google Maps in the 90s, but for a fantasy world. And
it was on a DVD or a CD, excuse me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've still got it. It's really cool. I mean, the images look a little dated now, but
that feels like something that should be doable today, right? More than
Oh yeah. I mean, well, you can put in, I haven't done this, but you can put in like custom, I think they're called CamZ files into Google Earth. Like, could you imagine using Google Earth and kind of like zooming in on your fantasy world? That would be mind blowing. There's a lot of maps you'd have to build for that, though.
That sounds like a
But on that, But on that note, like, so we all got like maps in our brain that are like those definitive. This is the stuff that blew my mind. Do you have any, like, maybe it's a dungeon map, maybe it's just a map in general that for you, Duncan, was the one that like sparked?
Yes, I've got a map that I'm absolutely in love with. It's not like the origin of my passion for D&D. It's a later influence, but I don't know if you've seen Mike Schlay's Candlekeep map that came with.
Oh yeah,
trees.
Yeah, Mike Schley, that guy's a legend.
Yeah. He's another guy that uses pastel colors as well, and I really think it just makes the map easier to read. Yeah, I got it out actually in preparation for this podcast, and it's just stunning. I mean, and it's this, you just want to dive in and explore everything. It actually inspired me to write an adventure. Did you get the Candlekeep Mysteries anthology?
I've got it. Yeah, it's a beautiful book, and it's a beautiful space. Yeah.
But not enough of the adventures take place in Candlekeep. They only use this map, and in fact, like the lore kind of locks you out of the inner library. Only the Avowed are allowed in there, so they kind of present you this massive box of candy, but they don't give you a key almost to unlock it. So
That's got the same thing as the casino, though. You're like, oh, so this is a heist book, really? That's what we're going to do.
Yes, there is that temptation at least.
I just gotta say, you can't name your book Dragon Heist and not have a heist in it. I'm sorry, that's just that is so criminal. I cannot believe they got away with that. Nobody calls them out on it.
People did call them out on that, I think. There was a few sarcastic comments about that. But,
it was so like wanted that thing to be a heist.
Dragon Goose Chase. It would have been maybe more appropriate.
Well, Mike Slahey is a good call out because he is certainly a legend.
I was going to say as well, that I did write a book. I did write an adventure that does take you into that inner library called
there we go.
Murders. So I'll send you guys a copy in case you like it.
Oh, I'd love that. So we have a lot of first time GMs that send us questions here and there. What would be some of your advice you would give to, like, somebody who's just ready to take the helm as a first-time GM? If you had any advice you could give to them, what do you think that would be?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Well, I think you're never going to feel ready, are you? You're never going to have mastered all the rules or have an answer for everything. You've just got to try it. You've got to go for it and kind of expect it to go a bit badly. I'm afraid, because it probably will. You have to be a bit resilient, I think, to start off as a dungeon master, and then you have to learn quickly, because you probably will try and push the narrative in some directions. You'll probably have an idea. I want to be a dungeon master because I want to present this story. I want people to live this fantasy that I've got in my head, and that's pretty much how all dungeon masters start. And then you try and enforce this fantasy on people and this storyline. And of course, the players exercise their agency and derail your preconceived ideas of what's going to happen in the session. So, yes, you'll have to learn those lessons.
It goes off the tracks so fast, and you got to be doing some off-roading. Yeah. I've always said that they're like, when somebody asks us, it's always even for myself, first sessions of a new game, they're always like awkward first dates where you're all just trying to suss each other out. Yeah. How is this going? It's never a pleasant experience. Seldomly, I should say.
I wonder if a better tactic, because one of the problems of being a new DM is you're often playing with experienced DMs on the table. Yeah. And that can be a good thing if they help you out with the rules a bit, but it can feel like you're, I don't know, if in a football analogy would be like you're managing the team, but the legendary ex-manager is like on your shoulder judging everything you're doing. Yeah. So maybe run a different system, like run a system that none of your friends know, run a one shot. And just, hey, you guys can't overrule me because you don't know the rules.
There you go.
Also a situation where those ex-GMs really need to be aware of that. I mean, anytime I'm sitting down as a player, I am usually hyper aware that, like, I was the person in that seat just a moment ago. I don't want to, like, undermine their story or anything. So I'm usually fairly supportive.
I think, we're old enough to kind of know better and to be the ally on the table. But often, when you were younger, I'm not sure. It probably wasn't like this,
I was not that ally when I was younger, I'll be honest. we had a GM. We would rotate a GM at a group I had. This was a kind of like a Friday night beer drinking kind of group. We would just, maybe once a month we'd play, just kind of unwind. The first hour was just talking stuff about work, and man, we would try to get into each other's heads and just try to mess up each other's games all the time. There was like a competition of who could mess the game up the most for that poor GM. But it was kind of fun in its own way, because it was a bit of a competition of like, how badly can we screw up this game?
Exactly, a different sport, really. Yeah, almost.
It really was. So to each their own, folks. There's no wrong way to play D&D, they say, but there can be.
there are ways that are likely to last less long, and
Exactly.
ways that might actually lead to a kind of campaign that makes everyone feel good for months or years.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, certainly one of the things that's true about that, though, right, is that like as GMs, we've got to, like, as you say, kind of turn that switch off. And I think, what's interesting is that, a lot of people complain about being forever DMs, and like, if you're critical of everybody else's game, that's how you become a forever DM, right?
Yes.
That's a good point. Like, when people complain about being a forever GM, I'm like, that's usually my first thought is like, I wonder what they're like as a player.
Yes.
Yeah.
In
It's
my
funny.
experience, the people I enjoy DMing for the most are other DMs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. You
I
got generous people around you. That's great. Well, so Duncan, I want to kind of, as we're getting kind of close to wrapping up here, I wanted to give you a chance to talk a little bit about some of the other things that you've done that we haven't talked as much about. You've got a great blog. You've got a few adventures. Can you give us a quick once over about maybe kind of what the pitch is for some of the adventures you've published? And then maybe tell us a couple of your blog entries that people could find that were maybe especially popular or that you're especially proud of.
Okay. Oh, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah. Well, my blog is Hipsters and Dragons, and I started it, I think, around 2016 or something, just when I was getting back into D&D. And it was in a way as a place to like vent some of my frustrations with little things in the rules. And yeah, then eventually when I got more experience to share insights, and I saw that the DMs Guild was a fun place where you could publish your own adventures. So yeah, I jumped on that opportunity, and I think I won't talk about everything I've published there, but during the pandemic, being a travel writer, I didn't have much to do. No one was obviously traveling. I was earning nothing. I just moved into an expensive flat, and I was paying huge rent every month. So I was borderline depressed, but what got me through the pandemic was having a huge project, which was called Dragonbowl. It's actually a sequel to Dragon Heist. Well, it doesn't have to be, but it could play as a sequel to Dragon Heist because it starts 6th level, which I think is a good level for characters where they're quite resilient and they're quite interesting in combat, because obviously
that's kind of where they leave off too.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
they kind of leave off Dragon Heist around there? Okay.
They leave off around 5th. So you can go into the arena, and I created 16 different fighting teams. You can gradually go through them to the idea isn't that you fight all 16. The idea is that you have about 4, and like Dragon Heist, I created different entanglements, different side missions, so that as a DM you could run the adventure multiple times and it'd be different every time.
Oh, so that's great.
You could fight because there's 16 different teams. Each has its own like entanglements where you might get drawn into their world a bit, or they might try and assassinate you, or you have to. They've got like
this is implicitly a kind of tournament situation going on.
It's a tournament situation, but there's a lot going on around the tournament.
Yeah.
So my goal was to really have a gladiatorial tournament where combat wasn't the biggest thing happening.
Interesting.
It's really an adventure about intrigue and socializing and partying. And as a registered gladiator, you're kind of one of the stars of the show. On the assumption that you're going to die quite soon, but
fantastic. Yeah, your lamp burns brightly, if briefly.
Exactly. So it was a really fun one to run because I created a lot of can I say a-hole NPCs that really wind up your players, and I love running antagonistic NPCs. And
that's fantastic.
Making things personal,
Now I'm not sure I want Mark to read your stuff anymore because I'm going to have to deal with that later.
I don't. I'm more of an antagonistic GM than I am
I see. The thing is you're going to have to start learning to kind of filter that through these NPCs, and then be like, "Look, it's not me. This NPC is just a jerk." You know.
Duncan, we have an episode. You should go back and listen at some point. We have an episode on trash talk. Like it's just.
Oh yeah.
It's all about
I'm
trash talking your players.
Love it.
So you might enjoy that one.
Great.
I wrote a table of insults, I think.
Oh.
There you go.
Dude, I was gonna say one of the things that drives me crazy is when people do what's that bard ability? The
Vicious
Mockery.
vicious mockery. But they don't even have any sort of, they just say I cast vicious mockery. I'm like,
you can't say
I shouldn't even allow that. That shouldn't even be allowed.
That's it. Or they get advantage on the save or something if you don't say.
Yeah, I'm gonna start giving like when they just say I cast vicious mockery, I'm gonna give them disadvantage if they don't actually insult me in some way. So you get this book. Let's talk real quick. This is out in bookstores. Where are people going to be able to get this? Tell us a little bit about, like, first of all, before you go in, folks, there's some stuff in here that you could absolutely use in your games. I'm not even kidding. I'm going to steal a few things. I'm taking the bone dragon pyramid and the serpentine bath. Yes. I'm dropping those in my game.
They're two of my favorites. Yeah, I actually ran the Bone Dragon Pyramid for a group of newbies over Christmas at home, including some kids. It's a fun dungeon, you know.
But these are so easy to drop in. He's got this beautiful map and lots of little descriptions about things you could do within the map. Tell us it's coming out. It's out. Where can we get this?
It came out the 13th of January. So yeah. I think it should be in bookstores. It's not in bookstores in Europe, but it should be in Barnes & Noble and hobby stores. I think you can buy it on the Barnes & Noble's website. If you can't see it on Amazon, it should be on Amazon. It is on Amazon. I saw that their stocks are running a bit low if you're buying from the UK. And it's going to be stocked in Target, I believe, from May. Which,
excellent.
I think if you're in Canada, you should be able to pick it up at Indigo. But yeah, I definitely tried to make it as user-friendly as possible so that you could really cut and paste things and just drop them in, like without having the baggage 100%. Of a whole huge adventure structure around it. You know?
Yeah, that's what I really am excited about this book. I'm going to actually pick up my copy today. I'll be hitting the Barnes & Noble because I've been looking at the PDF and I've been really like, okay, these places are going to be in my game. So
so glad to hear that.
Wonderful. Well, so Duncan, I think we're coming down the home stretch here. We're almost done, but I wanted to ask if people are want to catch up with you and keep track of your blog and so on. We'll definitely link that, but can you go ahead and just tell us what that URL is again?
Yeah, if you guys want to keep up with me, it's hipstersanddragons.com. I named the blog after the guys that got me back into Dungeons and Dragons. They were quite bohemian characters, you know, like not the typical.
That's great.
Not the typical nerds, let's say, that we expect. So I was like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons is cool now.
Who knew?
It was always cool, Duncan. It was.
Yeah, so I was trying to lean into that. I feel like I put people off by calling it Hipsters and Dragons.
No, I'm just joking.
That's great. Well, it's a great blog. It's a great book. Duncan, we're so happy to have you on the podcast today. And
it's a lot of fun.
We're looking forward to reading more from you soon.
Excellent. I'm going to be definitely subscribing to your podcast. In fact, I think I have already. And yeah, anytime you want to chat, look me up.
Appreciate that.
Will do.
All right, guys, that's it for us. We're going to sign off here. So what do we say here, Ben?
Well, until next time, keep those dice rolling.
Tune up. Level up your fun. Tune up. Your quest has now begun. Tune up. We'll show you how it's done. Tune up, tune up, tune up, tune up, tune up. Tune up.